All right. The work session of Hillsborough Schools District 1J is now in order. Our first agenda item is really just to welcome some of the city leadership of the City of Cornelius to our conference table today. As I mentioned while we're eating, this is something I think we did before the pandemic. And we had folks in from North Plains at our last meeting, and if they already heard the story, everybody here's heard the story before, but I spent 23 years of my time in HSD living in the Hillsborough School District, but not living in the city of Hillsborough. And it's important to me because of that, I guess. It just resonates with me for people to understand and remember that the Hillsborough School District is much bigger than the city of Hillsborough, that it's not the same thing, that we have 3 municipalities, unincorporated Washington County, all represented in the Hillsborough School District. So in an effort to just try to reintroduce friend relationships, make sure that you know who to call when you have a problem and how to get things done. Just glad you're able to make some time and come over and chat with us. I'm Mark Watson, the chair of the school board. Board members, want to introduce yourselves?
I'm Yvette Pantojan. I'm the vice chair.
Nancy Thomas. Tony Ford.
Sheehan? She's joining us online.
Hi there. So sorry I can't join in person. My name is Sheehan Kim, and I have been on the board for, this is 6 years, I believe. No, 5 years. Excuse me, 5 years. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. You guys want to just take a quick minute and introduce yourselves?
Sure. My name is Peter Brandon. I'm the city manager in Cornelius.
Jeff Delane, Mayor of Cornelius.
Hi, I'm John Colgan. I'm one of the city councilors in Cornelius. Good evening. My name is Ed Lopez, city councilor of the city of Cornelius.
And one of our board members has joined us. Want to introduce yourself?
Oh, yes. I am Erica Lopez. I'm one of the Hillsborough School Board members. Welcome.
Board chair.
See how happy she is now?
Yeah, I totally get that. I think at our last meeting, we also went around and just, again, all I really wanted to achieve, one of the board goals this year was to help foster better connections with our community. So, go around, and so we'll start with Travis, the superintendent, and give everybody else a chance to introduce them. And hopefully, just the idea is, if you put names to faces and help understand who's doing what, it'll help you if you ever need.
Travis Ryman, superintendent. First year as superintendent, but I've been in the Hillsborough School District for 20 years now. Thanks for being here.
Go that way.
I'm Honolulu Williams, and I'm the Human Resources Officer for the district, and I've been in the district this is my 19th year and my 10th year in HR.
Hello, I'm Michelle Morrison. I'm the district financial officer. I've been with HSD since 2011 and became financial officer in 2018. And I recognize you and also do the long range planning.
Hi there. Aida Khalidi, operations officer. First year as operations officer, 24 years in the district.
Beth Fraser, communications officer for the Hillsborough School District. I've been in this role for 15 years, and I'll be at your planning meeting tomorrow. Very exciting.
I'm George Beverage. I'm the district technology officer. I've been with Hillsborough for 5 years.
I'm Brooke Nova, assistant superintendent. This is my first year in the position, 22nd year in the school district.
My name is Rose Ramon, and I am the executive assistant to the superintendent and the board of directors. Nice to meet you all.
And to be fair, if you really want to accomplish anything in Hillsborough School District, it probably goes through Rose. So if you remember one person out of all of us after today, that's probably the person to remember. With that in mind, we didn't have a whole lot of, we didn't really have a whole lot of topics, but basically just a recognition that we share the responsibilities to the citizens of Cornelius together. And I guess North Plains kind of had an issue. They were, Brian, give you guys the opportunity. Do you have a list of things you wanted to be sure to cover with us or whatever?
Pages.
Okay.
Pages of. Why would we come unprepared with something?
I thought you might. So, yeah.
I'll start off with the opportunity, a little opportunity. How many people have been to Cornelius? Okay. All right. Go lower your hand if you thought that was Cornelius Pass and Cornelius were the same. Okay. So the good news is, it is. Cornelius Pass is the same Cornelius family of Cornelius, Oregon. So it is the same family, it's different members of the family. So, but that's usually the hardest one. People think, oh yeah, I've been to Cornelius, and they've driven over Cornelius Pass and thought it was those two houses right there, but we're a little bigger than that. We're about 2.2 miles. We've grown by about 10% since the last time we came and saw you folks. Laurel Woods, which is in your district, has been a pretty substantial growth. We're figuring that's probably going to be about 3,000 people by the time it's done. And it's only got 2 phases left in that development. So to give you some other baseline, about a third of the youth in Cornelius attend HSD. The other 2/3 attend the guys to the west, the Vikings. So it is one more split in our community that we struggle with. Nobody comes to politics without an axe to grind. And one of them I came with originally when I started in 2003 was the new high school you guys were going to build on the 40 acres in town. And then you built Liberty. And then you built Century. So, and then you remodeled Hill High and Glencoe. So we're still, I think that's one of the things, if you're going to ask us what we're looking for, is when and what is that 40 acres ever going to be? Because like I said, when I moved to the community in '96, there was talk of that school. You did build Free Orchards just a little further west of there, so we did get the elementary school. So we've got one Hillsborough Elementary out of all the other elementaries, but there's no middle school and there's no high school in Cornelius. So when it comes to Friday night and Saturday night, community goes to Forest Grove or Hillsborough. And that's similar to our population, right? We are one of a couple cities in Oregon that are minority majority, right? So we have 52% that identify as Latino or Hispanic, and in the 40s that are Anglo, and then we've got a sprinkling of other folks, but everybody else is kind of single digit. It's pretty bicultural, pretty Anglo and Latino. So if you're looking for any kind of good Latino or Hispanic food, we've probably got it. And we've got every variety, and it's not just Mexican, it's whatever.
It's worth noting that that's essentially in demographics of our district. We are minority school district as well.
So you do understand that difference in that cultural. I mean, we're one of the, I don't know how many other cities provide our city newsletter bilingually. So we have a Spanish and an English version that goes out every month. Not a common thing we understand. But I think out of the stuff on my list was really that, really asking about the future of the 40 acres on the side of town. Councilors, you guys had rebuttal questions?
Mayor, you've intrigued me now. I can't imagine what it's like to have a city split like that. How does that impact on the daily basis with a third of the kids going to Austin and 2/3 going to Forest Grove?
Don't worry, all the people that work leave too. We have 14,000 people in the city. So figure out how many of those are kids and how many are adults. About half, right? 6,000 people leave town every day to go find work on an average commute of 29 minutes. So we're primarily a bedroom community. One of the lowest, we're racing, I think, Forest Grove to the bottom on assessed value per capita in the county. But we also have an interesting dynamic. We have an inordinately high home ownership rate. 75% of the homes are owned by the people that live there, which is not normal. So to have that low a percentage of renters and that high a percentage of owners, and especially in a community that has like 10% of its population every month have to figure out if they're paying water, gas, or electric. And they don't. We struggle with that every month. About 10% of our population can't meet the bills every month and has to pick. I'm sorry, go ahead. Do you have other questions, observations? I can go on all night. They're a long time. John, Eden, yes?
Yeah, I think that one of the things that maybe the mayor forgot to touch on there is we've brought our little tiny town has some pretty large organizational talent. We have Centro Cultural based out of Cornelius, Virginia Garcia is based out of Cornelius, and our city works with those organizations a lot. We're putting in an ARPA-funded makerspace in our library right now, and Centro Cultural is really excited to bring some of their STEM programming in there and work on that. Along with Virginia Garcia's got that beautiful office on our downtown stretch where they can actually see patients that can walk from Cornelius, which is amazing because we're such a small town. We're doing some other stuff really well considering our median household income is so far below the Washington County average. The home ownership is amazing, and we're really hoping to keep that going as we expand with Laurelwoods. But also we've got our Youth Advisory Council, which just a few years ago before COVID, we took a few representatives to Denver with us, and we won the All-American Cities Award. So some wonderful kids in that, a few from Hillsborough. We got that 2/3, 1/3 split. And I would add, I'm a middle school teacher in Forest Grove, so I've got kind of a different perspective on this. It is so strange and difficult having our town kind of split. It is that we don't have a town identity. We don't have that everybody that grew up there like went to Forest Grove or went to Hillsborough for school. So it's just been very hard to find that nucleus that schools end up being for towns a lot of the time. You can ask somebody from Hillsborough which high school they went to, and then you know what. We don't have that. And that's been really difficult. I would certainly be curious to see what you guys choose to do with those 40 acres, especially as our two towns keep growing towards each other, and that 40 is so close to that split.
Resonates to me quite. Sorry, but Aloha, I think, is a lot like that too. I lived in the Hillsborough side of Aloha, not in the Beaverton side, but yes, it's very common to be that. I knew exactly where the road was. Just walk across there. I'm in a different school, and I probably lived closer to Aloha High School than I did to Century High School where my kids went. I bet that's probably true.
It's funny for me because I know every kid on my side of 20th Avenue, and then I go to like a park on the other side, and it's just a whole different group of kids. It's kind of funny. It's like being in a different town, but they live across the street from each other.
You mentioned I still think of it as new, but it's amazing. The library, the senior living, it's so great. It's not really that new. How old is the library?
5 years. 5 years?
Still new. It's okay for me to still call it the new library or whatever. That's still okay? All right, we're still in that window.
Still leaks once in a while.
Oh, all right.
A new coffee shop if you're driving by.
Oh, all right. Yeah, that facility is amazing. You guys did a great job with that thing. Yeah.
Thank you, John. What I'd like to is just talk about the future a little bit. I'm glad to have full I think like John and the mayor, I think the city of Cornelius has a lot of potential, has a lot of talent. We're definitely the number side. Talking about the future, we have some things coming up. We have the community vision plan, which is also funded by some of the ARPA funds that came through in the last few years. We'll take advantage of that. That is set to be completed in the fall. We have heard from the community in regards to what their needs are or what they envision, and they want recreational facilities and programs. And so, luckily enough, a new school is being built not a new school, but a new building for the Cornelius Elementary. A bond was passed, I think last year, I believe. And so we have an agreement with Forest Grove School District to keep the cafeteria in the gym, the front section of the elementary. And we have hopes that we can turn that into a community center where we could possibly provide some programming, maybe provide other programs, we also have some long-range planning, paperwork to do, I guess, a comprehensive plan. They would like to rewrite, updates to the park master plan. And also, if you can really be familiar with the gas station and Baseline,
Can I ask just a question? You mentioned that, like, most of the people leave to find work. Is there any plans around, you mentioned like there's a vision. Is there any other vision planning for like economic development and what, you have so much land around you, and like, is there any thinking around that?
So we are still very ag-centric. A great example of that is we have Pape, Bobcat is moving. That's that's torn up on the south side of the highway. Bobcat's moving there, and New Holland is already there. Part of that is without a change in state law, Cornelius is as big as it will ever be. Part of the grand bargain in 2014 sealed the city to the size it is. We had an economic analysis done long before that said you're in a great position for people that want to not be, they can't afford to be right next to Intel, but would need to be in the area. And we used to have industrial land. The operative term was use. It's pretty much been developed or land banked by the companies for their next phase for just those kind of companies. Rinchem, which is a major chemical handler and supplier to Intel, has developed a new building and plans a second phase in Cornelius. And we've got, I'm trying to remember, Songbird? No, is that the right name?
Meadowlark.
Meadowlark. Yeah. It's got like 150,000 square foot tip up. And we're having people that I can't share names of come and look at the building to invest. But the problem is we have 575 acres north of town that have been in and out of the city since the original 1970s plan that established the urban growth boundaries. And based on the land negotiation of 2014, we're as big as we'll be until state law changes. So we don't really have, we have this little island is probably the best way to describe it, surrounded by the Tualatin on the corner on the south side of town, snugged up against Forest Grove. But without partners like you and other cities helping us go to the state, because we've talked to Metro, and I think the phone died during the conversation about us being able to expand, because the logical would be actually have Metro, we're a Metro City. Wouldn't it be great if we were actually connected to the other Metro City east of us? Because right now the only thing that connects us to Hillsborough is Highway 8. And as businesses have joined, they've let us expand some, but that coastal supply and those businesses, those have joined the city along there. But that's kind of the it. There's just really not a lot of opportunity for the 300 people that stay in Cornelius and work and play every day, and the 6,000 that seek them. We're interested, we're willing, but it's getting the state to agree, the 1,000 Friends and the Farm Bureau to allow us to make these expansions. That's really adversaries of us at the table on those ideas.
We heard from North Plains too that they were having some challenges, and I think that's part for us is we're also combating lower enrollment rates and losing kids and families going elsewhere because it's less expensive to live. But I mean, it'd be great to have communities that are like North Plains and Cornelius that can still be part of our district and bring more families into our district.
Yeah, one of the things that our urban renewal agency, which is still just in its getting started phase, is looking at is redeveloping some of our downtown. But the employment opportunities for those sorts of properties are fairly limited.
Yeah.
So we're hard up against the urban growth boundary. There's just not a lot of room for us to expand our commercial tax base.
Challenge.
Interested, working on it, advocating for it continuously, but it has not borne much fruit. So we've infilled some of the acreage we have, but that's it.
I'm just curious, excuse me, if you know by your demographics, one of the challenges that we have is, believe it or not, a dwindling population. Of course, most schools across the state are going through this, right? So now we have people who are making intentional choices to go to other schools and to seek education opportunities in different ways, many times at home. And I was wondering, is your population growing to help us justify this next use? And I'm being honest, because yes, we do have that land, but it's very interesting. That's one question, but the background behind that is that this district has done a phenomenal job of banking the land that it needed when it justified us going poof. And unfortunately, and so I'm wondering, do you have the, I don't feel like that legal term I use, do you have the population to help us go poof in your direction?
I think our numbers we're younger than average. We're obviously more Latino than average. So that is contributing to us. It's interesting, but if you marry Forest Grove and Cornelius, we come out at a normal distribution for age and a lot of things. The former mayor of Forest Grove and I used to joke, Forest Grove, where seniors go to visit their parents. Cornelius is just the opposite, right? We have a heavier, younger population if you're looking at the age distribution. So I think there's continues, and you see the kids coming into school.
Yeah.
So there's some momentum there.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think for the family side of things, when things slowed down through COVID, Holt Homes and the other, I'm losing their names, basically the two primary developers in Laurel Woods doubled down because they were producing and selling more homes in that Laurel Woods development than their other developments around the Tri-County area. So they doubled down, and we continued to move through those phases during the pandemic, where other areas kind of slowed down, or you saw people move even further away. So, and I think we struggle with the same thing, though, a little bit, because my involvement also is heavy in transportation. And you can stand on the corner of Highway 47 and 8, which is in Forest Grove, and watch the stream of cars in the morning come in from our new sister city of Yamhill and Carlton, who have exploded. And they're just following in the footsteps of Newburgh and Aurora, who both exploded because social comment, political comment. We've held the urban growth boundary so tight that people that could or would have skipped out.
And they're not in Metro. I guess the first time I saw a map of Metro, I was sort of blown away by it. This little strip of 8 goes out, and then it's unusually drawn, in my opinion. And so Yamhill and Carlton are outside North Plains, outside the urban growth boundary managed by Metro.
Yeah, big guys a couple blocks over. About 20% of their employees come from Camas, Washougal, Ridgefield. Right. But to get a home in the way you want, school in a way you want, that's where people have gone. And now we see people going to Yamhill and Carlton rather than stay here because they can get, it's part of the same reason I bought my place in Cornelius. That same home in Hillsborough, when I bought my first place for $123,000, was $133,000. It was $10,000, which was a lot of money in 1996. And it's the same thing. You can get more house, more land, opportunities, if you're willing to drive a little bit. Kind of what's happened. Canby, Aurora, and I was always focused on Canby and Aurora, and then I started doing the math on Camas, Washougal, and Ridgefield. They've outpaced those two other communities in the south 2x. Camas, Washougal, and Ridgefield have grown twice as fast as Canby, Aurora, Newburgh, and now Carlton and Yamhill. So that's where our people are choosing to live in a certain house and a certain lifestyle or certain education and just drive in for the job.
Yeah, same thing when we moved here.
Or just not drive at all and work remote.
We had an offer in Aloha. I couldn't afford to live in Hillsborough when I moved here either. We had an offer in a house in Cornelius and an offer in a house in Aloha. Ended up being it, and I moved in Aloha not really knowing what Aloha was because I'm not from here.
Formerly one of the largest cities in Oregon that never chose to incorporate and has been slowly eaten by Beaverton Hillsborough.
Be a minute.
I guess I also just want to know, like, what you mentioned that Forest Grove was going to allow the use of the gym for the school.
The front part of it facing the highway, a kitchen, cafeteria area, and a gymnasium was built in the late 90s. So the plan is to purchase that from the Forest Grove School District, along with a small parking area, basically the corner, and then the old part of the building behind it is demolished because they're already broken ground on the new school on the other corner of the lot. So they're going to the front corner of the back. Yeah.
And this has to be immediately across the street from our existing new library. So it'd be a community center, the library, fire station, police, and the civic center there, council chambers, all within basically a city block of each other. So just with operations down a few blocks south of us.
And it's a commercial kitchen, which gives us opportunities. We've already used it in the past every year for our community Thanksgiving dinner and things like that.
We even had a program from Nike. We got a grant from Nike in the past, pre-COVID, and we ran evenings and weekends gym in that facility. And they helped pay for staffing and janitorial service. And we had quite a community bloom into, hey, yeah, we like this. The library provides, and we'll hear this from people who have grown up in the community, a safe place for kids to go instead of a lot of them, parents are working, right? We're hoping the community center, the gym, turns into that another safe place that the youth can go after school until mom and dad get home.
Do you use the other elementary similar, HSD?
When we're allowed to get in, one of my other hats I wear is I'm the district chair for Boy Scouts of America. Scouting America is the new name. We have been shut out completely from Beaverton. Some socio-political decision there. We do use a little bit of Hillsborough schools here and there throughout the district. Forest Grove has also been fairly allowing for us to get into schools, and we're actually working on a program right now. City of Forest Grove, City of Cornelius, Pacific University, who else? Forest Grove School District. And Forest Grove School District to look at the ability to expand exactly what Eden was talking about. Community is super hungry for opportunities to recreate, to learn, to do things. And we have all of these facilities that normally vacant every night after 3:30, right? So that's one of the things that school district, and I'm sure we'd be happy to work and look at free orchards and opportunity to look at those too. My vision, as I shared with that group, and they're kind of getting going, is every room would be filled every night by somebody in the community hosting Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, 4-H, FFA, community education opportunities for both the young and our aged, right? I think it's a tremendous untapped resource in our community, these facilities, because we see how much everybody struggles to find a place. When my oldest was tutoring, the only place he could find to do tutoring that people could afford was the library, because we could get a room in the library for free. Everywhere else, you're expected to pay or buy something. And he was tutoring youth in the community that couldn't afford to pay for something else.
Not unfamiliar. North Plains, I think, feels similarly, and it's fairly, we're the fourth largest school district in the state. And I think if you're in Malheur County, you think that means Hillsborough is a big urban thing. In farmland, views in West, and it's, to me, an interesting balance of rural and urban. And over when we are at statewide conventions talking to other school board members, it's very familiar story that the school is the hub of community activity for a rural community because it's a place everybody trusts. It's a place everybody knows where to find. So we've heard that before, and yeah, I would love to find a way for our district to be more helpful in that way.
And it's also for us a way to actually operationalize equity because not every community has the same needs. So communities in Hillsborough have a lot of recreation or other libraries and multiple things, but the communities in the smaller rural areas that we have, as Mark said, I need to use our buildings more than the other ones because I don't have any other options. So how can we actually change the way that we address those different needs in different communities? So, yeah.
I'm interested to have you guys join the table at that discussion about how you use the facilities, because my kids attended summer camps at South Meadows, right? Because we're on the east side of town, we're HSD. So that's what they did, and we could afford. My wife and I both worked at Intel at the time. So that wasn't the problem if you could afford it. It was everybody else. Can you find a slot? If you can find a slot, can you even afford it? If you can't, right? That's a big challenge. So how do you do it as free, reduced, or sliding scale?
None of us were on the board when we built Century of Liberty. But I am grateful to the board predecessor we have for land bank, we call land bank, for land banking opportunities, seeing the potential for growth. When we built our school in South Hillsborough, boards before us have been very good at anticipating growth, purchasing land banks before the urban growth boundary. So I'm super aware of the area you're talking about. I thought it was more of a middle school site being discussed, not a high school, but interesting to know. Travis might be able to add a little bit of information about the 40-acre site if you want to.
Yeah, the only thing I had to add was that Peter was nice enough to invite me to come out and meet in the fall, and we talked about the 40 acres there. And just like Mark said, the folks who came way before us were smart in investing in land before the urban growth boundary expanded, and therefore it was easier to buy at the time. And now as the urban growth boundary expands, we're lucky that we have those plots of land, because as population gets more dense or just grows in general, we'll have the ability to build schools if we need to. And so I know there might be a little pressure on you all to figure out how to acquire that land to build houses, but right now we're satisfied that we need to sit on it and wait and see what happens with population growth in the area.
I hadn't realized it was big enough for a high school. I thought it would be. I'd heard about it. I thought it was middle school. Okay.
Well, 40 acres. Don't we?
Yeah, 40 acres. So we have in South Hillsborough, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I've heard it characterized as a high school or a elementary and middle school. You could have a.
I guess. Fair point. That's what I was thinking. Yeah, do the dual, like where Witch Hazel and
Witch Hazel and South Meadow, right? Or the high school, which would give a center. And it's always, I've met with previous 2-3 superintendents ago. Nobody wants to talk about moving the line east or west, right? Either incorporate all of Cornelius into HSD or move it all the way to Dairy Creek and then move all the way.
I'd love to accept the students of your community into our school district. But I think that would be interpreted possibly as a hostile move to our neighbors to the west.
Yeah.
We're actually really careful when we relate to Forest Grove School District. We just redrew a boundary in the Kalita development so that families could attend a single school and not have to be split within the walls of a single complex. So we're just sensitive to that as an issue and not looking to do anything that Forest Grove wouldn't consent to.
And to be fair, they had the foresight to come to us with the idea.
Yeah, Peter did.
Yeah, it's if you ever want to see a history and community dynamics, look at the boundary line north and south of Cornelius. Goes around particular family farms. We will not be going to Hillsborough, or we will not be going to Forest Grove. And the boundary is this, and then it does not this. It's
And the 547 or whatever you mentioned north of town, is that outside of Metro's urban growth boundary, but right on the border of your community?
Yeah, and it's land that was in the original write-up for the UGB, and my predecessors, isolation said, no, we won't grow. And they pulled the UGB back in 175 acres to where it is now and has been for basically.
So if I'm hearing you right, this is gerrymandering.
At its best, you can see which families picked which district they'd be in historically. You could just, bring up your own map, it's not a straight line out of town.
Thank you for the learning opportunity.
Yeah.
20 plus years of digging around all this records and talking to families. And I was very fortunate that when I first got into office, foundational families that made up Virginia Garcia and Centro drug me around quinceañeras and baptismals and just barbecues to get to know more and more of our foundational families in our community and where they came from, and people that were teachers and community leaders, and for the safety and sake of their families left and came to our community and started over. In a lot of cases, could not bring any of their credentials with them and started over picking berries or nuts or fruit in our community and started over. But these are great foundational families of Cornelius.
Is there a sense that you have, when North Plains was here, they mentioned that their community was a little bit divided in wanting to grow and not wanting to grow? Do you find the same in Cornelius? Is like half and half split, or is there a desire for growth?
I think our last big growth came very easy because we had willing and interested family partners that owned all that. And they wanted to sell it, and they actually went and bought bigger farms further down in the valley because they didn't want to farm next to a city anymore. So it was very easy for us, right? We had interested and willing partners. The same reason our boundary is on the east side of the property you guys own is because Edmund Dyke said, over my dead body, will we be joining the city? And that's why we drew the line, because Edmund had very strong feelings about not having the farmland become part of the city. It's passed, and the family is considering all those decisions that Edmund made. But that is you asked about the future, and it would be very logical if and when the state law changes for our city to grow right along the bank of the Tualatin up to Dairy Creek and fill several hundred acres of, some of it grass, some of it hazelnut, some of it sitting around land basically just south. So it'd take the 163 acres brought in with Laurelwoods and probably triple or quadruple it easily to get us right up to Hillsborough at Dairy Creek, which is the Winco. So we would if we just grew naturally into between the Tualatin there without ever jumping the Tualatin yet.
I'll add at the same time, growth is great, and we want growth and progress. Also trying to be careful about gentrification.
Absolutely.
Making sure that things become affordable, that the progress that we make also benefit the current community. Name of the study that we have.
Well, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, Councilor Lopez. We're doing an anti-gentrification plan. I've never been involved with one before, so it's going to be very interesting. I'm not sure it's a way to develop tools to mitigate gentrification and displacement.
So we're just starting in on that.
Great.
Because we don't want to have the North Mississippi or named neighborhood in Portland, Hawthorne, where it's the only way they grew and developed by was basically kicking everybody that ever lived there out. And then that's not what we want to do. We want to be able to allow the people there. That's part of when we did the library, right, the senior affordable housing. We wanted people there as we're looking at the new affordable housing, 113 units north of Fred Meyers. We partnered with Centro to physically recruit families from town that would qualify to go into that, because we've got a unique, because it's a family-based affordable housing. We have 3-bedroom apartments in that building. So we've been recruiting actively from within our own area, so those folks don't have to leave town. They can stay in the town they've lived, go to the church they've gone to, their kids can continue to go to school where they've gone. So that, we're very heavily interested and invested in, you know, allowing our people, but manage that growth. Grow through willing partners and in a manner that's positive, and that's where we continue to see we've been very successful at growing houses. You can ask any of the previous mayors of Hillsborough, they always look to us and like, great, where are you going to put all those Intel people? And that's what we've done, but we need to grow our business base. And for years, I never could get our industrial to go, and now our industrial gone, basically. The entire North Industrial Holiday Park is, except for a piece that Metro owns, has been developed.
Peter attends our long-range planning committee on a regular basis, as did his predecessor. I've been serving on that committee for as long as I've been on the board, and it's easily one of my favorite things. One of my favorite parts of board service has always been attending that long-range planning committee and hearing from and North Plains and Washington County, and how thank you, Michelle and Beth, for bringing that group together, and Adam before you for having that foresight. Appreciate it. Basically, we didn't have any agenda items we wanted to accomplish. I just wanted to hopefully reach out to y'all, let you know that you have people on the Hillsborough School Board that are very, I believe it's very important for everyone to realize that HSD and Hillsborough are not the same thing. And we appreciate you guys coming and spend a little bit of time with us today, and I learned a bunch. Thanks.
Thanks for having us.
And the doors are open, and I would love to make this like an annual thing if we can,
And that the staff that are.
And now you know all of us, right?
Beth and I have known each other for a long time. Thank you. Thanks for dinner and the.
Thank you guys so much for coming. Take a second to transition to our next agenda item. As you know, over the course of the year, we often get reports from various departments and whatnot, just for school board members to have insight into the operations of our district. And tonight we have Brooke and Elaine are going to talk about the Student Services Department.
Yay!
Oh, and a bunch of people.
Oh, yes, the entire Student Services admin team came out today. So we have quite the hardworking depth of knowledge crew here. So you'll see that in your packet titled a Department Overview Serving Diverse Needs of Our Learners. And I think that the team here does such an excellent job of doing so. And we're honored and lucky that and fortunate we get to serve a wide variety of learners. So tonight they're going to cover not only this year, but also a look ahead to next year as well. So with that, Elaine, I believe, is going to kick off the presentation.
Yep, I sure am. Okay. We'll introduce ourselves just really fast. So for those, I think I've got everybody here, but just in case, my name is Elaine Fox. I'm the Executive Director of Student Services. We're very happy to be with you here tonight.
And I'm Wendy Ramos, and I'm one of the Directors of Student Services.
Jeanette Farrell, I'm the District Nurse Supervisor.
I'm Amy Schroeder. I'm another Director of Student Services.
Chelsea Pollack, also Director of Student Services.
All right. So we thought we'd start off by just showing you our what we call our inclusion blueprint. And as we're looking at having students access all of the learning opportunities that all students get to access, this is kind of what we use as our touchstone or our logo. And when we're looking at having students access all kinds of different things in buildings. We look at 4 main areas, and we look at instruction and assessment, we look at supports and interventions, equity and community, and spaces and structures. And you have this rubric or this logo. You can actually click on any one of those subject areas, and then a rubric pops up, and that really helps buildings kind of assess their readiness in these areas to provide inclusive spaces.
Many of you may already know that we are in the implementation phase of our neighborhood schools, and next year we're going to welcome the Liberty Elementary schools into that implementation. We do lots of things to support our schools as they go into that implementation. We do inclusion walkthroughs with our partnering folks, Westland Wilsonville and McMinnville, and we really learn from one another. We also were the recipients of a big supplies grant this year, so we were really able to equip a lot of our buildings with some amazing items to ensure that they're able to support all of our students. And next year, we're going to implement a scope and sequence professional development to improve our inclusive practices. We also really want to celebrate our transition services program, which for those of you who don't know, it's our 18 to 21-year-olds who have graduated with a certificate of completion, with a modified diploma, or an alternate certificate of some sort. This year, Krista Hansen received the Transition Teacher of the Year. She's amazing. We also had a student in our transition program who were featured on KPTV for World Autism Month. It's a great clip if you have the opportunity to check it out. We also partner with 25 of our Hillsborough area businesses, which just provide incredible opportunities for our students to have work experiences and get into that employability land. And then we are really looking forward to our completion ceremony on May 30th. It's Hollywood Star themed this year, so we're very excited.
That's at Peter Bosco right now, right?
At Peter Bosco, yeah, yes.
All right, we also wanted to share some of our celebrations around professional development this year. We started the year with a new teacher boot camp for 3 full days for our newest case managers. Those newest case managers also have 4 new teacher mentors that we were able to hire so that they have ongoing support throughout the year. We had a neighborhood school implementation full-day retreat and training last summer for all of the schools that are participating in neighborhood schools, and we will do the same thing again this year, as well as the Liberty Theater that will be onboarding. And we continue to meet regularly with HEA to collaborate and to problem solve. This year's focus was on the calculator committee, so we are trying to re-look at how we distribute caseloads and kind of find different ways to weight those so that we can assign FTE a little differently based on that. So overall, we had over 150 hours of professional development this school year.
Okay, and you may or may not have heard of a bill called Senate Bill 819 about abbreviated day for students. That was a new law that we had to implement this year. And so this year we managed to design a protocol for Hillsborough schools to use to implement this law. We went ahead and we trained over 130 case managers as well as all of our counselors in terms of implementing this. It went very well. We have to regularly report to ODE on how our implementation is going, and it's been very successful. We also had a number of other districts adopt our protocol, which was nice because then we had some continuity in Washington County. We had also the implementation of Senate Bill 756, which really focused around all staff working with students and giving input into IEP meetings. So primarily our instructional assistant staff that are very important folks that work with our students who have some of our most intensive needs in terms of providing one-on-one support. They now always have input into the IEP process, which just really enhances our knowledge base for our IEP meetings and allows us to do really good things for kids. So I do think there will be more advocacy work around Senate Bill 819, an abbreviated day. There's been a few changes that have happened this year, and I think there will be some continued changes that happen in the next legislative session, and so we'll just have to see how those go, but we'll keep you apprised of those as they happen.
I understand it's been challenging in some other districts to implement 819, and without throwing anyone under any buses, it felt like it wasn't that much a challenge for us, or maybe not as much for some smaller districts. Is that an accurate perception on my part, or was it just as difficult for us as it was maybe for some smaller districts?
I think it was difficult to implement, but I also think we had a really good plan, and I think that we went into fall with a very good plan and we're very prepared. So I think that really helped our case managers know exactly what to do. And frankly, I mean, I even am surprised at how well it's gone in terms of the implementation. We're prepared for all kinds of contingencies, and we really didn't need them. It just kind of, I think when we eliminate abbreviated days for students, that can be very challenging for buildings, but I also think when we have good plans and good supports, that we're able to do it.
I guess my request would be, as we approach the legislative session, it's far away, the board members are basically our advocacy team, so we'll be looking to you and Travis for messaging on that front for what kinds of information we should be sharing with our legislators when we have the opportunity to do so. Generally, we have a Washington County summit in January, so hopefully we'll have that again and have an opportunity. We had, even for a short session, we had 6 representatives, 3 senators, including the majority leader maybe, at our last one. So at some point, we do feel like we have the ear of some people in the legislature, a little bit at least.
That's awesome, and I am more than happy to provide information.
Yeah, just what changes we would be advocating.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, I'm going to move on to parent partnership here. We wanted to share just a little bit about our parent partnership program. We have a fairly strong parent partnership program with student services, and so this last year we had 5 separate parent partnership meetings at the district level. And probably our highlight of the year was a community resource fair that we have, and we have over 27 local businesses come and share how they can support our students and families who experience disability in all kinds of different areas, whether it be recreational activities, living skills, employment opportunities. There's lots of different things that go on there. So we used to have that in spring, and we moved it to fall this last year, which was really successful. In addition to that, in-person night, we also have 2 other in-person nights, and during those, we usually have a speaker come. This year we talked about handling stress, and we talked about self-regulation, and then during those evenings we also provide dinner for families. We have opportunities for them to bring their children, and we do programming for kids during that time as well, and then we also have time at the end for them to connect with students and staff, or with staff and other parents. And so that tends to be a really successful evening ritual that we have every year, and we at least try and do 3. We also, in addition to that, have 3 Zoom nights, and so we have different things that we focus on during those, but those for our families who are not really able to come in person, they can participate virtually. And so we worked with families and communities together, the special education process, and college and career issues this year in those sessions. And then we also participate in our PACs that we have. So we have the SPED Latinx PAC, we have the Black Village, we have the Native American and Alaska Native PAC. We try and participate in those and provide information and support for families so they're able to ask any questions that they have about special education or understand what their resources are.
The in-person nights, is there translation available for like the speakers, families to come?
All the time there are, and we have sometimes businesses submit videos, and we try and have those translated as well. So hopefully they're.
In addition to some of our current investments like social emotional learning and problem solving, student services is providing some specific professional development and resources to ensure safe and inclusive learning spaces in our schools. We've trained over 900 staff in safety care and proactive strategies to support students in crisis. We've also acquired a safety care grant that allowed us to train 6 more trainers and to practice with some advanced safety care training to help keep our students and staff safe. We have contracted with board certified behavior analysts to support students across grade levels, monitoring support to our students, but also building capacity within our staff who are supporting those students. We are going to be engaging in an intensive behavior pilot with our constitutional setting next year. We'll have more of that later. And then we're also adding some additional on-site behavior coaching in partnership with the ESD next year as well.
All right, so we currently partner with Northwest Regional ESD and some other community partners to provide alternative school options, which best serve our students with complex mental health and behavioral needs. So we contract for slots in these programs, and this year we have served 55 students. The numbers next to each program indicate if we are increasing slots there or if they're staying the same. So we are excited that we have worked with our partners to increase our slots for 8 additional students for next year. All right, so these are just a few examples of some of our communication structures as well. We have regular department meetings throughout the year where we focus on equity and sharing out any new updates or hot topics in our department. We collaborate monthly with HEA. We have 2 special ed licensed and 2 special ed classified listening sessions as well to hear feedback and listen to any concerns that they may bring up. We regularly meet with all of our departments, which include speech-language pathologists, school psychologists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, and we regularly meet with our individual school-based teams, which might include principals or case managers or other people from our department to serve students at that school and to attend any IEPs or other meetings that are needed.
Okay, we also have several partnerships with the Oregon Department of Education and Families and Communities Together, or FACT. And so, first of all, Families and Communities Together is Oregon's parent training organization, and every state has one, but Oregon's is called FACT, and they're very active in our community, and we partner with them quite a bit. We also partner regularly with Northwest Regional ESD, and we talk about collaboration issues with other directors. We talk about implementation of legislative mandates, how those are going, what we're doing, what other districts are doing. We are involved with the Oregon Department of Education on the Early Childhood Inclusion Task Force, and so we keep our finger kind of on what's going on at the preschool level as well with that. And then we're also a member of what we call SACSE, which is the State Advisory Council on Special Education. And that is an organization that is a collaboration with ODE that basically serves to advise the Oregon Department of Education on special education issues. And it's on that committee are families, they are local businesses, there are teachers, there are parents. It's a huge collaboration. And then we work a lot with the Coalition of Oregon School Administrators, or our professional organization, to stay apprised of new legislation and work on advocacy issues with them. And then we also had a new process this year that happened that was really around general supervision, and we had Oregon Department of Education review 80 of our files, and we're happy to say that we only found 5 errors in 80 files, and we're super proud of our case managers. They did an awesome job. So that was new this year. All right.
The main part of our school health program are the nurses that serve our district. We have 13 registered nurses and 13 practical nurses. We had one of our district nurses this year named Oregon School Nurse of the Year, Tracy Evers-Selleck. We also, as a team, have trained over 780 staff, not including the 80-plus student-specific trainings. We've added more accessible Narcan to all of our schools. We got free sunscreen for all of our schools. Our district nurses have served a number of medically complex, fragile, nursing-dependent, and general education students. Our licensed practical nurses, they serve all of our one-to-one students and do all of our hands-on care within the schools and classrooms. We are also working slowly to add a licensed practical nurse to run our health rooms to be more proactive about health and attendance from within the school. Our school-based health center that's located at Century High School is run and staffed by Virginia Garcia. They provide our students with needed appointments and care. The district nurse team helps students access this care by working closely with staff to get appointments, supporting students in accessing it themselves, and then also educating the students on the health center and what type of care that they can access in that center. The district is also working on increasing access to healthcare through grants that we will speak to you more about in August at your retreat. Our district nurse team also oversees the prevention screening for our students, sight, hearing, and dental. This is a very large number of students that were screened, just not even finished this year.
All right, I look forward to next year. I'm really excited for you. Like we said, we're going to be engaging in that EDC support pilot, partnering with Northwest Regional. This is going to allow us to better support and address some of the severe allocations in our students in our school. Through this partnership, we will be providing increased training and coaching to our staff and coaches and individuals to interventions. For students with the most complex needs, and we're really excited about that. We'll also be engaging in some legislative advocacy for fully funded special education with the removal of the 11% cap and increased reimbursement for high-cost disabilities, specifically without the carve-out funding for students.
Okay, so that's what we have for you today. We're happy to answer any questions if you have anything, but thank you for the opportunity to share.
I do actually have a question. A favorite refrain that I have heard is that our students are somehow worse because of the trauma of the pandemic. I'm wondering from your perspective, do you agree with that? And if so, how have we pivoted and adjusted and realigned ourselves to meet their unique needs?
I do think there's no question that nationally and in Hillsborough School District, there definitely is an increased need for mental health and very likely due to the, to some of the trauma in the pandemic and also just being out of school for a while as related to the pandemic. So what we're doing, though, to support students is working on some, first of all, we have really increased levels of safety care training, which is both prevention, de-escalation training, and also crisis training. And so we, you probably heard, we trained about 900 staff there. And when we were training before the pandemic, on our behavior support and de-escalation services, we literally were training about 350 staff. I looked back to see kind of how much we had increased. So we've really ramped up that training quite a bit. The other thing is that we're looking at bringing in some higher level supports for students. So we worked with what are called BCBAs this year, which are board certified behavior analysts. So they have a higher level of expertise, and we kind of contract with them individually because they're very specialized services in what they do. But we've had a lot of success with that. And then in addition to that, we're adding in a behavior pilot that we're working with next year with the Northwest Regional ESD that really focused around our kids who have cognitive challenges as well as behavior challenges. And they're some of our toughest population to serve sometimes, and we are really working on some very proven successful strategies with them. So we're super excited to do that and thankful to be part of that. So those are a few of the things that we're doing to really try and support more students.
I would also say this team works so closely with Jenny Carey, who presented a few months back as well. I mean, they are meeting all the time together around Jenny and her team of mental and behavioral health, serving also our general ed students, and in conjunction with our student services team, so that complete wraparound care. Also with our McKinney-Vento team, also alongside our family engagement liaison team. So I think we're de-siloing more to also holistically more students and families to meet the needs coming out of the pandemic, and at least trying to meet the needs, because I think what you're saying, Nancy, is true. But I would just share that that's what I've seen this year, is that working hand in hand together in partnership a lot more than ever.
I had a question. I remember when I first started, one of our first, the first packs that we did, we talked about IEPs, and a lot of parents didn't know even how to get an evaluation. Probably one of the best attended sessions that we had at that time. And I'm wondering if that has kept going afterwards. Do you meet with the PAC or have information? Like, and then one of the things that we talked about was like, I don't remember like afterwards what happened, and it would be nice to have like a circle back to in that time, what are other strategies to make sure that parents know the process, know how to navigate, and what other initiatives you've done?
So we have a lot of different avenues, but I do think that the knowledge base is more in the flow now. So like we've done kind of that big presentation, but now we really work with our family liaisons to make sure that information is available for parents and at that school level, because I think that's really where you get that one-on-one support. And so we really work at that level to make sure that all parents are always getting what they need as far as what the IEP process is, how you get an evaluation, all of those pieces. And then I think each of us being a part of a PAC, also we're always available and there for parents. And we also share that with those groups. So I think we've gone beyond kind of the one and done presentation and really kind of hit all the different areas for parents. Yeah.
You also at the kinder fairs, do you have families they're first introduced to our district? That's usually the first point of entry and figuring out what resources they have, whether it's Northwest CSD.
I have the best swag, so they come over. Honestly. Yeah.
And I didn't hear the presentation. Will you talk about how you structure so that everybody's in a PAC so that you're a resource to each one of the parent advisory committees? Did you guys already cover that in the presentation?
We kind of glossed over it very quickly, but each one of us is assigned to one of the PACs. And so we are able to attend those meetings, and that way we can not only present information, but just be there and available if questions come up. We've had parents say, hey, I'm new, I just decided to join the PAC. I'm not sure, how I can engage or how I can get help for my student. And then we're able to really share with them and how to do that, and then help connect with the principal or help connect with people that can really support them at the building level where they're kind of interfacing with them every day. So that's kind of the idea.
I think one of the nights, a lot of them didn't even know there was like a family night where they could meet with other families that were having the same challenges and kind of have that community. I thought that was really great. Thanks.
Questions? This might be a hard one that you don't have to answer tonight, but I would love to be thinking about this. Again, maybe a lot of our things are interconnected tonight. One of the ideas being discussed as even the governor, and I think people are realizing the way we've been funding education for the last 30 years, maybe not providing the outcomes we want. And one of the themes that seems recurring is that schools are being asked to do a lot of different things than they were maybe 30, 50 years ago. And the mental health aspects are right there first and forefront. Again, don't need to answer tonight, but I'm curious if we have a position as a district or individually of, is it just more money and more people in our schools make this problem more approachable, or is it something schools shouldn't be doing anymore and we should have different? So it used to be, we talked about, somebody mentioned silos earlier and de-siloing things. It feels a lot like we are where kids are, and reaching kids where they are is pretty effective. But if we don't have if we can't afford the kinds of staff, or we don't have the resources to do it, is it better to find ways to do it in different ways? So it's more of a big conceptual question, and I'm wondering, as I'm hoping that state government is going to be looking into, should we change the fundamental way that we fund education in Oregon? And if they do, one of the asks seems to be realizing that schools are doing a lot more things than they used to be doing. It's not just reading, writing, arithmetic. I think at some point someone will have to make the argument of, well, should you be doing that or not? I kind of know where my opinion's at, but also I'm not an expert like y'all. So just, I guess, a topic that I would love to get some reflection on at some point.
Just for a little bit of, we do have an opinion about this. We talk about.
Put you on the spot. I try not to put people on the spot in board meetings, but cool. All right.
I will start. Who we are in Hillsborough School District is bringing the community in, right, and de-siloing. And I think we have gained such momentum over the years doing that of course we want students and families to be holistically served in our district. There's no doubt. But I think that does take additional funding, and that's what the team was talking about, without a carve out somewhere else, which is tough, right? Because there is social services are needed across the lifespan of humans in Oregon. I mean, that is a fact. But I think that in Hillsborough School District, how we have become who we are is bringing in our community partners to work alongside us to best serve our students in the place that they feel hopefully really comfortable in, and our families as well. So to answer, I think we all are in agreement of, yes, we can meet our students in a holistic approach if we have the funding to do so alongside our community partners. I think that's also part of our grow your own in a variety of ways, grow our own educators, grow our own mental health supports, because we also need to take that into account as well. I think, as Cornelius was sharing, as our community becomes more diverse, we also need to ensure that we have the staff that looks that way as well. And so with the funding, I think we could do it.
I agree, and I think that the way that we look at it is if we want to serve our students in their health care and bringing in our community partners, we need to do it in all of their health, not just their physical health, but their mental health and their behavioral health, their psychological health. I think that making sure that we at least find them the accesses that they need with our community partners until we get that budgeting right, because that's always going to be a piece of it, regardless of how much the state gives us or doesn't. The budgeting will always be a piece, and serving our students will always be our number one priority. And right now, their needs are healthcare, and that includes mental health. So I think that we, as a district, need to continue to go forward with that and making sure that we have the supports or the places that we know that will serve our students.
So I'm with the Oregon Department of Human Services. So I am very connected and understand the intersectionality between what you do and what you do and how they intersect, and how sometimes we have to meet you where you are in order to deal with that family, in order to provide that wraparound service. And then also, right, hopefully they're all a member of OHP and they're doing all the right things. And I think what I'm trying to say is, I like where Mark's question was going, but the bottom line is at some point, in your defense, we have got to get to the point where we're comfortable in expressing the fact that if our children are important, you'll put your money behind it. If they're not, then stop talking to me. Stop telling me what to do. Stop giving me unfunded mandates. And stop asking me to do more with less. Because what that does is it puts us where we have been. It puts you on the defensive mode, and you're trying to do the right thing with what you have and trying to do more without less, and the needs are more. And it's just, I'm really, really sensitive to the fact that at some point we have to decide that if the governor really thinks this is important, then put your money where your mouth is and fund it.
Yeah, there's a lot of people.
Are our children important or are they not?
Absolutely.
And how many parents have we had come before us that want to argue for their children that are at the top of the class because they don't have an extra class? And we are in a mental health desert in this state, right? So, and this is not helping you, not at all, because the fact that you have those behavioral health and we are awesome. But you need more. You need 10 times more. We need 100 times more. It's frustrating to me to be in a place where we are across the nation and here where we keep talking about what's important. We keep talking about the kids, but you won't put your money where your mouth is. And if they're really important, then by God, pay for it. But apparently that's not important. And you can only do what you can do. So I guess that was my long way of thanking you for what you're doing. I mean that. My dental science, IEP, regular diploma, all the same, right? Did I like the counselor? No. Probably because he didn't know what to do with me. Imagine that. But my point is that you guys, thank you for what you're doing. Because I don't think enough people say that. And until the legislature, in this very unique state that I've come to call home, can figure out how to fund this thing and do it in a logical way, which apparently did not exist, doesn't exist, and they haven't figured that out yet. I don't think it's fair for you to have to take responsibility and own it. You can only do what you can do. So keep doing what you can, and thank you.
Last budgetary cycle, I heard the term braided funding more than I ever had in my entire life before. I didn't even know those two words went together. To help, I guess, conceptually, using outside non-school funds to address the issues that we're dealing with. And I guess we do Medicare funding or billing or whatever, but it doesn't feel like, I feel like it was talked about a lot, but it didn't feel like a lot of funds got braided in. Feels like we had a ponytail by ourselves like we always do. Is that a bad analogy? It's about right. Yeah, I guess if we, never mind. We're good.
We don't have any we really don't.
We just go last. Everybody else go first like the board chair's supposed to. Anybody else have any other questions? Thank you guys so much. We love the regular departmental updates. You guys are always great. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. We were in an effort to make all of our work connected tonight. So Northwest Regional ESD got brought up several times during that discussion. We have Dan back with us tonight. You guys want to move up to the chairs? As you all know, former HSD board member Dear Martinez will not be continuing on the board of the Northwest Regional ESD. Dorian Russell has chosen to represent us in that spot. I thought it was a great idea for Dorian to meet the board and for the board to have an opportunity to meet Dorian. So Dan probably has more background than that. Thanks for being with us again tonight, Dan. Thanks. Go ahead.
Thanks. I come bearing no words, which is a really pretty amazing moment. Maybe we should have a moment of silence. No, I'm here to support Dorian. We've had a couple of conversations, mostly about the metro and DC and other things. No, I think,
watch an escalator.
Right, and it's clean. Anyway, she has a really amazing resume of wanting to make a difference in communities. And I've only met her a few times, but I was really impressed. So I'm happy to support her here in any way the board needs me to.
I guess procedurally, just a refresher. The board seats on the Northwest Regional ESD board, if you are maybe west of us, several districts will get together and choose who their representative would be. But because Hillsborough, Beaverton, anybody else?
Yep, no. The answer is no, nobody else. We have our board structure is it's actually legislatively different than most other governmental agencies, And so we have five zoned positions, thank you, and 4 appointed positions on our board. Those 4 are appointed by the 5 zone. And in the zone positions, we have, you and Beaverton are the only ones that have singular candidates, but Beaverton actually has 2 and 1 that's split with some of Columbia County. So this is the only position we have on the board that really is a singular district represented position.
That's, I guess, so there you go. That, the representation that Hillsborough School District has on the Northwest Regional ESD is chosen by the Hillsborough School District Board. So in your action items tonight, we will have an opportunity to approve the appointment as our representative for the Northwest Regional ESD starting July 1st. So, Dorian.
Thank you, everyone. Good evening. My name is Dorian Russell. I use they, them pronouns, and I'm honored to be in front of you this evening for your consideration to serve on the Northwest Regional Education Service District. I am a proud alum of Hillsborough Schools. If I recall correctly, the first time I was in this building was actually to meet the superintendent to celebrate my graduation as valedictorian of Liberty High School. I was able to become the first person in my family to graduate high school, to go on to college, to go on to graduate school, and also access a fulfilling career in public policy and administration, thanks in large part to the quality education, the access to resources, and the trusting relationships that I developed with the most compassionate adults as a student in this district. I'm putting myself forward for the nomination to the Northwest Regional ESD to pay forward the profound gratitude that I have for this community that raised me. From accessing individualized speech therapy services when I was in elementary school, to workforce readiness as a dual enrollment student at Portland Community College while I was in high school, I have deeply benefited from the multi-jurisdictional coordination of services throughout our regional education system. I know that achieving universal access to education requires partnership, and I'm excited to serve as a liaison and a collaborator with each and every single one of you to achieve that mission. In everything that I do, my core purpose is to imagine and to realize a future where a person's childhood upbringing, their race, their ethnicity, their gender, their sexuality, any identity characteristic at all can no longer be used to predict a person's lifelong outcomes socially, economically, and in terms of their health. I'm here today in front of you because I want to see a day where who you are can no longer be used to predict your access to education, your health, or your wealth. I arrived at this mission both personally and professionally. I grew up here as the first of 4 children to teenage parents in a chronically housing insecure and food insecure household. And today I navigate the world as an openly queer person with a disability and as a survivor of domestic violence. At various stages of my life, I have navigated many government services, essential for my education, my housing, my health, and my safety needs, often with perplexing difficulty. I understand firsthand the barriers to effective service delivery that are experienced by children, by families, and staff throughout our region. Professionally, I have over a decade of experience, primarily in public policy and in advocacy work at the local, state, and the federal level. I currently work in a pandemic recovery role in a local government where I manage the use of $117 million of COVID relief aid over several dozen programs. While I've served in many different public policy roles, folks are sometimes surprised to learn that I am formally trained as a scientist. And behind the scenes, I carefully calculate the impacts of any potential strategic decision. I have a graduate research degree in environmental science from American University in Washington, D.C. Also from AU, my undergraduate degree was highly interdisciplinary, blending topics in public policy, environmental studies, and also economics. I also hold a certificate of advanced leadership studies in public affairs. In my free time, I serve on the Hillsborough Library Board because I fiercely believe in universal access to learning, in celebrating the freedom to read, and the value of community institutions in fostering both belonging and curiosity. I also serve on the executive board for Home Plate Youth Services, Washington County's only nonprofit organization that is providing both drop-in services and street outreach to youth and young adults who are experiencing homelessness in our community. From using a library fax machine to send in my college financial aid application to experiencing homelessness myself, you can bet that I bring my whole and holistic self personally and professionally to every role that I hold. Serving on the Northwest Regional ESD will be a natural extension of the community work that I am already so incredibly proud to be doing. So, if I might answer any questions or provide your board with any additional information to support my appointment, I would be very eager to share. And thank you so very much for your consideration for this deeply important and impactful opportunity to give back to our shared community. Thank you.
Any questions for Dorian? Patrick was on there. Questions, Erica?
I just want to say I'm so incredibly honored that you would your service to our community in this capacity. See, with your just extensive experience, I'm sure this will be an asset to us. And I also know Dorian from her service at the City of Hillsborough, being a fellow, where she did a lot of policy work and did amazing work, and her library board service as well. And I just appreciate all the work that you do in our community. So thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions? So we have an action item to consider Dorian's appointment this evening when we get downstairs. So you can all look forward to that action. Thank you for being with us tonight.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Ah, right on time. Wow.
Good job, everyone.
Board discussion time. We'll have an opportunity for board discussion time downstairs as well. One thing I wanted to let everybody know is that Yvette, Rose, and I had an opportunity to meet with a dozen, 15, 13? Altogether? Oh, okay, right, 10-ish. Amazing possible student representatives to the board over the last week. Apparently, y'all had a very impactful Zoom session with many of the candidates. So once again, thank you for doing that. I think it's one of the super informative habits we've gotten into of having sort of that archival knowledge from student reps to be passed down, and it's great that we do that. And all of them talked about how much they learned and how grateful they were for you guys to take your time to do that. So thanks for doing that. We have chosen, or we will next meeting.
Yes.
Next meeting, we will put forward the slate of recommendations from the student school board representative subcommittee, search subcommittee, whatever. Whatever. We'll put our recommendations forward. Rose let the students know today. It'll be one student from Century High School, one student from Liberty High School, and one student from the Hillsborough Online Academy. So, while we regret your departure and going off, we look forward to the next group of students that we'll have, and hopefully you will find them all as impressive as we did.
Thank you both for doing it. Yes, thank you.
Thank Rose. It was just to go a lot of fun and moving stuff and tracking down candidates to make sure they showed up, and yeah, it was Rose did an amazing job as always. So we've always had great student representatives, so looking forward to another batch. Anybody else have any more board discussion time for up here? I can't see you in anymore.
I'm good.
All right. What's that? Anything to add for up here? Or you just head ready to head downstairs?
I'm ready downstairs.
All right.
Thanks.
Sounds good. All right. Work session is adjourned. We will reconvene downstairs about 7 o'clock for our regular before, right? I'll do it before we actually gavel in. Before we begin, I would like to provide some important information about our interpretation services. Please remember to speak clearly and directly into the microphones at a moderate pace. Please do not speak over one another so that the interpreters can accurately convey your message. Thank you for your cooperation, board members and guests. Hillsborough School District 1J Board Meeting regular session is now in order. We will begin today, as we always do, with our flag salute. For those of you here in the room, the flag is at the back of the room by the door. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As we gather here today, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge that our district service area is on the occupied traditional homelands of the Atfalati Indigenous people, lands we now call Washington County in the state of Oregon. We honor the Indigenous people whose traditional and ancestral homes we stand on, the Tualatin Kalapuya, Kathlamet, Clackamas, Tumwater, Malala, bands of the Chinook, and many other Indigenous nations of the Columbia River. In remembering these communities, we honor their legacy, their lives, and their ancestors. We also recognize the urban, Indigenous, Native, First Peoples community living in the metro area, which includes over 400 tribal nations. The Hillsborough School District is committed to the recognition and education regarding tribal and local history and working with our local tribes in partnership. I have the proclamation today. The Hillsborough School District celebrates the first presidential proclamation recognizing the Transgender Day of Visibility issued by President Joe Biden in March of 2021. The Hillsborough School District recognizes that the struggle for dignity and equality for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, two-spirit, intersex, and asexual, LGBTQ2SIA+, people is reflected in the tireless dedication of advocates and allies who strive to forge a more inclusive society. The Hillsborough School District understands that LGBTQ2SIA+ individuals, including those who live in our community, face discrimination simply for being who they are and for who they love, and there remains much work to do to extend the promise of our country to every person. The Hillsborough School District commemorates the landmark Supreme Court decision of 2015 guaranteeing marriage equality in all 50 states was historic victory for the LGBTQ2SIA+ Americans, and continues to affirm our belief that we are all freer when we are treated as equals. The Hillsborough School District celebrates the month of June, is nationally recognized as a time to celebrate contributions of the LGBTQ2SIA+ community to our society and collective history. The Board of Education of the Hillsborough School District do hereby proclaim the month of June 2024 to be LGBTQ2SIA+ Pride Month. We urge all community members to join us in recognizing the many contributions and achievements of the LGBTQ2SIA+ community to the development and prosperity of our society. All right, we are at the portion of the night where would anybody like to make a motion regarding the agenda?
I move that the Board of Directors approve the agenda as printed.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ward and seconded by Director Thomas that the Board of Directors approve the agenda as printed. Is there any further discussion? Is there any objection? Motion carries. Do we have any audience time tonight? We do not. Okay, I don't have to read that. But I appreciate that my board colleagues crafted such a wonderful statement. Would anybody like to make a motion regarding the consent agenda?
I move that the Board of Directors approve the consent agenda as printed.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ward and seconded by Director Lopez. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. That the Board of Directors approve the consent agenda as printed. Is there any discussion? Is there any objection? That motion carries. Reports and discussions. Big check time. Our first report and discussion involves our wonderful partnership with the Hillsborough Schools Foundation and their annual report. Their executive director, Aaron Carlson, is with us tonight, and many of the other board representatives.
All right, good evening. Thank you. I'm Erin with the Hillsborough Schools Foundation. With me tonight is Jake Mead, our treasurer, and Matt Brennan, co-worker and development and marketing, and Laura Becken, a past president. She's on our executive committee, and a future board member, Amy Thompson.
Good information.
I've been in this position for about 16 years, and the neat thing is that no 2 days are the same. Even though it's another school year, another year, it is always different and fun. So I wanted to show that we have been working on our big initiatives in these last 10 years, and the amount that we have given keeps on growing. So we did STEM kits for the kindergarten through sixth graders that ended in 2017 and gave $150,575. And then from 2018 to 21, we did the shop and career labs in all of the middle schools for a total roughly of I think it was 500,000, 427,690. And then we have what we are wrapping up our career kits and all of the books for kinder through eighth grade, career books, multilingual books, and restocking those libraries where their age of their books is well over 20 years old. And so that has been a lot of fun too. And then our career kits, 2 different career kits for each grade from kindergarten through sixth grade for a total of $530,500. So we really like to do those big initiatives. We're up over $1 million. Part of our strategic planning is, forward. I'm supposed to eyeball her and I can't see her. We're working on strategic planning right now. And we're trying to build capacity with HSF in order to raise more money. Part of that plan is to diversify and grow our board. And so far, we've added 4 new board members this year, bringing us to a total of 17 with more room to grow. You all know Arturo Mendez from Applied Materials, Megan Kay from Thermo Fisher, Matt Turner from WaFd Bank, and Tim Moe from Beaverton School District have all joined the board in this school year. And we're already seeing a bump with their support that reflected in our annual gala and auction. Next. Cool. So our 2023 auction raised $210,793. This year, our auction raised $224,167. So that was breaking an all-time record for us, and we had a lot less people in the room. So a lot of generosity and a lot of support, had the right people there. We could attribute it, I guess, to Travis getting his wings at the event. Yeah. Our innovative grants were mostly awarded in the past week. Last year, we gave $67,000 in grants to educators and PTA presidents and students that have applied for grants for something innovative in their classroom for the coming school year. This year, we did more than $75,000. And usually I give you a listing of what all the grants are, but we still have one more to award. So that has to remain secret until tomorrow night. So we're excited about that, but you'll have to check out our website, and I guess I can have them send out a listing of all of those grants. But it's a really fun one to go tomorrow night. So next. Save the dates. So we have got on the last day of school, we're doing a fundraiser at Handel's Ice Cream on October the 5th. You're hearing it here first. we've got a 5K run and walk presented by Mazama Brewing coming up. So it'll be in the Orenco Plaza. And we are working for 2025 to bring back a craft brew fest in the summertime. I was looking for that reaction. Then for November, we've got our Tamale Festival again this year at the M&M Marketplace. We would love to have any of you come and be judges for the best tamale in Hillsborough. Can't have food allergies or issues of that, so just let us know. And you can participate. There's, I don't know, 8 or 9 different tamales that you must test. It's just the hardest job in town. And then picking a winner for a dessert tamale, as well as the meat tamale. So it's a very fun event. It gets bigger and bigger each year. You cannot even believe how many thousands of dollars of tamales are made and sold for that event. It's pretty awesome. And then the thing that most of you are waiting to hear about is on February the 22nd of 25 is our 25th anniversary silver celebration auction and gala. So don't plan any vacation time that time. Make sure it gets on your schedule. Think more formal, think silver. I've heard a few hints of purple maybe and a dark blue, but we're mostly going for the silver and the black in case you weren't worried about your outfits, but I'm sure you already have yours. So we're pretty excited about that. It'll be our biggest and our best. And I can tell you that because we've already had 2 auction committee meetings and normally we don't start until August. So we are on a roll and ready to go. Is that my last one? Yes.
That's all the slides I have in our presentation.
Yeah. So we are ready to do for this school year so far. I just found out tonight, and poor Matt had already written a check. We have another $25,000 to add to this. So we will be making an announcement about that, but it will be before the school year ends. So we have got so far given this year $289,109 for innovative programs in the district. So we would love to do a photo. Yep. Yep.
All right.
And growing. And you never know what's going to come in the mail tomorrow. Thank you. Yes, we do have the golf tournament coming up in September as well. So, yes, in September. I think it's the second Thursday in September.
Did you say golf?
Golf.
Yeah.
I missed last year.
You did. Both of you did.
I missed last year, but I went the year before.
We're there this time.
Okay, good. We got you. Do you have any questions?
Any questions for Erin?
Can I say something?
Sure, of course. Bring your mic closer, though.
There's something special when, no matter where you are in the community, and you see Erin's face, and you just light up because you know what it means. You know what it stands for. There's something special about living in a community that understands that it's important to put your money where your mouth is and to make sure that your mouth follows your heart.
There's something special about what you do. And this is power. People misunderstand power. What you guys are doing, that's power. And I can't thank you enough. I go to these events and for other school boards and I talk about the Hillsborough Foundation and they go, what's that? And I go, you have no idea. But I mean, seriously, this is, thank you. I could write sonnets and soliloquies, but this is really, 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 really impressive. And I need you to understand that when you're in the community and when you're outside of our community and you say Hillsborough, people know who you are. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments?
I just similarly want to say thank you, Erin, for all your work throughout the years and also for just making giving so much fun. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So that's one of my favorite things on here. Right. Yeah, of course.
I wanted to say thank you too. I had the opportunity to talk to folks from other school districts recently about our career pathways programs, and they asked, well, how do you make sure that students understand the options that are available to them? And I talked about what we're doing at middle school, and then I talked about what we're doing at elementary school, and we wouldn't be doing it if it hadn't been for the support of the Hillsborough Schools Foundation. So thanks for making kids' dreams come true, and thanks for helping collaborate with us to make sure that all those kids have opportunity to learn STEM activities, arts activities, career pathways activities. Awesome. Much appreciated.
Yes, thank you guys so much for everything you do. And it's great to see all of you again. Our next agenda item is the financial report. It is in your packet. Does anyone have, well, Michelle usually likes to give a shout out to somebody in her department.
Everybody in my department. They're just
Everybody.
working so hard. So we have welcomed a new addition. Nawan Thompson came to us from North Clackamas, and he is our new manager of employee services. And so his focus is really going to be aligning the work of our benefits team and our payroll team to impact our whole system in a really positive way. And we're super excited to have him join us. So shout out to him, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions for Michelle regarding the report? Want to add something? Okay. All right. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
Next up is our action item portion of the evening. First up is the possible appointment of Dorian Russell to represent Zone 3 on the Northwest Regional ESD Board. I guess there's nowhere to really ask questions, but would anybody like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors endorse candidate Dorian Russell to fill the Zone 3 position of Northwest RESD Board to begin July 1st, 2024. Second.
It's been moved by Director Lopez and seconded by Director Pantoja that the Board of Directors endorse candidate Dorian Russell to fill Zone 3 position of Northwest Regional ESD Board to begin July 1st, 2024. Is there any further discussion?
I just want to say that it's also really hard to get people to volunteer for our unpaid volunteer positions that we have in our board and in Northwest Regional, but they're so important. And I'm really encouraged that Dorian stepped up, and I'm also glad that we have a great candidate to provide this service to our community. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Yeah, I would second that. Thank you, Dorian, for stepping up and being willing to serve in a public capacity in this volunteer role. And to all my colleagues for doing the same. All right. Rose, can you please call the roll?
Sheehan Kim.
Aye.
Erica Lopez.
Aye.
Nancy Thomas.
Aye.
Monique Ward.
No.
Yvette Pantoja.
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Next up is a real property purchase. Michelle, do you have anything you want to add here?
Yeah, I gave you guys a preview of this transaction on the 14th of this month. This has got to do with the Health and Education Center site on Block 56. It is very similar in transaction in the way we handled 508 Washington Street last August. And so I just asking for your support as we move forward through this sale.
Any questions for Michelle? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors approve the purchase and sale agreement and closing of the sale of this property at the completion of due diligence and final negotiations.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Thomas and seconded by Director Lopez that the Board of Directors approve the purchase and sale agreement and closing of the sale of this property after the completion of due diligence and final negotiations. Is there any further discussion? So this, we do not have a agreement reached yet, but we're working on it. And what this does is authorize you to continue with that process with Hayden. And
that's correct.
And if we don't end up meeting an agreement that works for the district, you'll just decline, right?
Yeah, I'll decline and follow up with a board update.
Okay.
This is just the very beginning.
All right. Thank you. Rose, can you call the roll, please?
Sheehan Kim.
Aye.
Erica Lopez.
Aye.
Nancy Thomas.
Aye.
Monique Ward.
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja.
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Next up, easement regarding Kinnaman Street-ish, right? Oh, it's even mentioned. Yeah, Kinnaman Street, right. Is this you again, Michelle?
Yes, it is. Thank you. I, again, kind of gave a preview of this at our executive session on the 14th. This is an ask in our work with the South Hillsborough Development. They're putting Kinnaman Street all the way through. There's a piece of property that requires, this is actually a twofold authorization here, where first there's a temporary construction easement to kind of clear the way for the new street. And then we actually do a dedication deed, which deeds the turn lane over to the city of Hillsborough. So this is kind of a two-part ask to satisfy that request. And I want to thank Director Ward for your questions.
We have maps and whatnot in our packet. Does anybody have any further questions for Michelle? Would anybody like to make a motion?
I move that the board of directors approve the temporary construction easement and dedication deed for right-of-way to the city of Hillsborough for 23,887 square feet on the south side of the intersection of Southeast Kinnaman Street and Southwest 209th Avenue.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Lopez and seconded by Director Thomas that the Board of Directors approve the temporary construction easement and dedication deed for the right-of-way to the city of Hillsborough for 23,887 square feet on the south side of the intersection of Southeast Kinnaman Street and Southwest 209th Avenue. Is there any further discussion? Rose, can you call the roll, please?
Sheehan Kim.
Aye.
Erica Lopez.
Aye.
Nancy Thomas.
Aye.
Monique Ward.
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja.
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye. Motion carries. Next up is, oh, I have the letter. You have the letter?
Yes, you have that. You don't.
Is it in here? Oh, it is in here. All right. Yep. Okay. I didn't have it on paper. Next up is review the superintendent's performance. So the board of directors conducted the performance evaluation for the superintendent. We are excited that he will be continuing with us for another year. Two separate actions, one to approve his contract, one to read his review letter. As required by law, I will be now reading the review letter into the public record. Dear Superintendent Ryman, the Hillsborough School District, HSD, Board of Directors has completed your evaluation for the 2023-2024 according to policy CBG evaluation of the superintendent. This year's standard-based model included a pre-evaluation survey completed by individual board members, your self-evaluation that examines your leadership and operational performance, and a board discussion by an independent consultant. Thank you for your service to the HSD community in this, your first year as superintendent. Although your first year has not been completed, this board is keenly aware and grateful for the many years of exemplary service you provided to the Hillsborough School District during your career. As established and in alignment with COSA and OSBA guidelines, you were evaluated on 9 standards for superintendent performance. 1, visionary district leadership. 2, ethics and professional norms. 3, inclusive district culture. 4, culturally responsive instructional leadership and improvement. 5, communication and community relations. 6, effective organizational management. 7, financial management. 8, policy, governance, and advocacy. 9, leadership for educational equity and cultural responsiveness. Additionally, the board reviewed progress on 2 year 1 goals as determined by the board and superintendent. Goal 1, establish a transition plan. Goal 2, implement data systems for strategic plan year 1. The board used the following 4-point scoring system for each category. Accomplished equals 4, effective performance equals 3, developing equals 2, and effective 1. Superintendent Ryman, the board of directors values your commitment to our community and district and your leadership towards our continuous improvement. The data from your evaluation shows that we are off to a good start at the outset of your tenure. In the 9 standards, the average rating from the board centered around effective performance 3 and will be detailed below. As a board, we are proud to have you as our superintendent. Here are highlights from the 9 standards. 1, visionary district leadership. The board assessed a score of 2.8. Director comments centered around successful launch of the district's new strategic plan. It was noted that much of the specifics of this plan, and indeed the work on many of the initiatives noted in your self-evaluation, began before you assumed the role of superintendent. However, directors also noted that in your previous role, you were instrumental in laying a solid foundation for these initiatives. Directors also appreciated the work of you and your team on literacy and statewide grant program. Directors are encouraged by the transition and look forward to continued effective engagement with stakeholders. Standard 2, ethics and professional norms. The board assessed a score of 3.2. Directors noted your focus on facts, especially when managing the uptick in complaints received by the district. Your commitment to an ethical and legal management of the complaint procedure is appreciated by the board. As noted in your self-evaluation and in director comments, the board appreciates your collaborative nature in problem solving and regular board updates regarding critical issues facing the district. Standard 3, inclusive district culture. The board assessed a score of 3. Directors noted the work of you and your team to help students achieve their dreams and empower families and our parent advisory committees, PACs, as they engage with the board and district leadership. Directors also noted the work on addressing the district fee structure on activities after being able to provide free meals to all of our students. As noted in your self-evaluation and in director comments, reintroduction of the all-staff kickoff was a great success. Standard 4, culturally responsive instructional leadership and improvement. The board assessed a score of 3.2. Directors appreciate your commitment to introducing new courses and curricula to help our students with success post-graduation. As noted above, your work in the previous role in areas like the Community Curriculum Advisory Committee laid a foundation for continued success in this area. Standard 5, communication and community relations. The board assessed a score of 2.6. The superintendent role in HSD requires quite a bit of interaction with entities both local and statewide out of the district. Directors appreciated your actions in this role and with partners like PCC, Virginia Garcia, and the municipalities in our district. District noted that communication with the board or from individual members can be an area of discussion and possible improvement. Standard 6, effective organizational management. The board assessed a score of 3. Directors noted the improvements mentioned in your self-evaluation and appreciated the department level updates the board receives throughout the year. Directors also noted your leadership role in managing the district's relationship with union partners. There may also be opportunities in this category for future discussions with the board or individual members. Standard 7, effective financial management. The board assessed a score of 3.4. Multiple directors mentioned their appreciation for the comprehensive sessions on bond, levies, and taxes. The board generally feels well informed about the district's financial issues. It is a credit to your leadership that the business department is a model statewide. Standard 8, policy, governance, and advocacy. The board assessed a score of 2.6. Directors included a wide range of comments regarding Standard 8. Directors noted your work in previous role connecting with community partners to provide a wide range of opportunities for HSD students. The board mentioned the apprentice program, summer programs, and the Block 56 joint project with PCC and Virginia Garcia. Directors also noted that some of the possible work in this area might include creating a smooth transition path for those activities to our new assistant superintendents. Directors also noted that strengthening a relationship with the board could help the district address areas covered in Standard 8. Standard 9, leadership for educational equity and cultural responsiveness. The board assessed a score of 3. Both in your self-evaluation and in director comments, the connection between disaggregated data and the specific measurable targets in our strategic plan are made. Both you and the board are keenly interested in monitoring our district's progress towards achieving these goals. Goal number 1, accomplish the transition plan. The board assessed a score of 3.2. At the outset of your tenure, you provided the board with a transition plan. The board is satisfied with the progress of the plan and believe the objectives have largely been achieved. Goal 2, implement data system for strategic plan year 1. Board assessed a score of 3.0. With the implementation of the data dashboard is satisfied with the progress of this goal, and we believe the objectives have largely been achieved. Superintendent Ryman, as we approach the conclusion of your first year as the superintendent of the Hillsborough School District, it is clear the board believes elevating you to this role was the right choice. You often humbly mention that the success of HSD relies heavily on your team. We believe the tone and model set for that team begins at the top. We are excited to monitor your continuous improvement as HSD strives to embody our motto, know, value, and empower every student to achieve their dreams. Thank you for all that you do that make us proud to be HSD. Sincerely, Mark Watson, Board Chair, Yvette Pantoja, Vice Chair, Sheehan Kim, Erica Lopez, Patrick McGuire, Nancy Thomas, Monique Ward. Did you squirm? Did you squirm like Mike? This is very uncomfortable for both Travis and me, for what it's worth. Thank you, Travis, for a great first year.
I just want to appreciate the board. Thank you for diving into the process and revamping the process for superintendent evaluation. I appreciate the hours that you spent, and Mark extra crafting the letter and doing the scoring process. I also do want to mention again that in that evaluation is the work of an incredible team, the best that I know of, and a board that fully supports us in our work. So thank you for the collaborative nature of our working relationship, and thank you again for the process.
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors commend the superintendent for his leadership of the Hillsborough School District and direct that the evaluation letter be placed on his personal file. Second.
It's been moved by Director Lopez and seconded by Director Pantoja that the Board of Directors commend the superintendent for his leadership of the Hillsborough School District and direct that the evaluation letter be placed in his personnel file. Is there any further discussion? Rose, can you please call the roll?
Sheehan Kim,
We didn't hear you, Sheehan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Erica Lopez,
Aye.
Nancy Thomas,
Aye.
Monique Ward,
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja,
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye. Motion carries. Congratulations, Travis. Thank you for a year well done. Next up is, in similar fashion, approval of the superintendent contract. When Travis was hired, we did a 3-year contract. It is traditional that we roll forward each year and then don't have to renegotiate until that first 3 years have expired. Thankfully, that will be under the guidance of a different board chair by then. So super excited for that particular portion. Would anybody care to make a motion?
I move that the Hillsborough School Board, I move that the Hillsborough School District Board of Directors approve the individual contract with the superintendent effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Pantoja and seconded by Director Thomas that the Hillsborough School District Board of Directors approve the individual contract with the superintendent effective July 1st, 2024 through June 30th, 2027. Is there any further discussion? Rose, can you call the roll, please?
Sheehan Kim,
Aye.
Erica Lopez,
Aye.
Nancy Thomas,
Aye.
Monique Ward,
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja,
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Next action item is to discuss and approve the supplemental budget resolution. Based on our findings last time, this is a requirement that we have when things have been adjusted more than expected. Michelle, would you like to add any information to this? Why stop digging?
Thank you, Chair Watson. Yes, we anticipate our appropriations exceeding 10%, a change in our appropriations exceeding 10% for the special revenue funds for various reasons as described in the situation page. That does require a specific publication and special action by the board. It's not that much different than what we usually do in June as far as some adjustments to appropriations, except for that we're being on the safe side and thinking we will exceed 10% in our special revenue fund. So bringing it forward here tonight. Again, Director Ward, thank you for your great questions. And I'll probably send that answer out in a board update just so that everyone has a better understanding of what those appropriations are going to be used
I
for.
like that. Any questions for Michelle? For those of you who were participating in the audit committee, this was a suggested action from the results of the audit committee last year. So nice to see that we're handling that in an effective way. Would anybody like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors approve the 2023-24 supplemental budget resolution that includes revised appropriations for the purposes described by major fund and function.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Ward and seconded by Director Lopez that the Board of Directors approve the 2023-24 supplemental budget resolution that includes revised appropriations for the purposes described by the major fund and function. Is there any further discussion? I think we covered it all. Rose, can you call the roll, please?
Sheehan Kim,
Aye.
Erica Lopez,
Aye.
Nancy Thomas,
Aye.
Monique Ward,
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja,
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye. Motion carries. All right. Next up, Nutrition Services. Saide, is that okay?
Yes, thank you. What you have in front of you is a revision of the paid pricing for the 24-25 school year. This is something that does not occur every year. Our Nutrition Services Department chooses to do so every 3 to 4 years, which is why the increment is higher than it would be if it were on a yearly basis. It's also something that's required by ODE. Do you have any questions for me?
Questions?
Just confirming, the last update to this pricing would have been, was it just before the pandemic or right as we were moving into the pandemic?
I would have to get that information for you.
Monique, you had a
I'm
question?
happy to do so.
No question, just a comment. I appreciate the information that you sent me concerning the RFPs for the different. I was just wanting to understand how one of the proposals. Thank you. Proposals scored the 100. So she just broke it out for me on how that came about. So I appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Director Thomas, I can find that information for you and respond via email if you want to know the last time we actually.
The only reason why I asked the question was because you said it was every 3 to 4 years, and I thought, okay, because we did a lot of pivoting
We did.
during the pandemic, and so I wasn't sure if we'd had a recent increase or if that was like way before the pandemic. But as we went through a public bid process, so I'm good.
In light of our information that we're able to provide pre-breakfast lunch to everybody, how does that intersect with this?
These prices are for additional meals.
Okay.
So the second, the third meal, which are quite infrequent.
Yeah.
Anywhere from maybe 15 to 20 on any given day for our 37 sites, including, staff members, paid meals. So it's very infrequent.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, that's what my son said.
Thank you.
I'm also just curious now that you mentioned that. I was like, it seems like a really clear breakup that there were really two top vendors. What placed one over the other?
Okay, are we talking about the next item?
I think that's our
That's the next item.
I thought.
Yeah, I think some of the questions are straying into our next item.
Yeah.
So
I move that
We-
the board of,
go ahead.
that the board of directors approve proposed meal pricing effective July 1st, 2024.
Second.
been moved by Director Lopez and seconded by Director Ward that the Board of Directors approve proposed meal pricing effective July 1st, 2024. Is there any further discussion? Rose, can you call the roll, please?
Sheehan Kim,
Aye.
Erica Lopez,
Aye.
Nancy Thomas,
Aye.
Monique Ward,
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja,
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye. Motion carries. Now, the RFP process. Anything you want to add?
Sure, yes. And thank you, Director Ward, for the questions, and probably the same questions that Director Lopez has. So the criteria for selecting the company that finally received the award, there were three parts to it. There are two that are actually the most impactful. One is price, and one is the lowest minimum delivery. So depending on the amount of produce purchased, if there was an amount, let's say less than a certain, like $50, if a company charged a fee for anything above that, then essentially, I believe Nate explained it this way, we would be paying $100 for $50 worth of produce, which eliminated the competition, essentially. And that's where I believe it was United that landed at the very top because they had the best price and the lowest minimum.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Was United is very popular and I see their trucks all over. Have we had them before or is this a new vendor?
This would be a new one. We currently have Charlie's Produce. They're our current vendor.
Switching.
Yes.
Probably didn't score that well. Sorry.
Well, and I know United is really big in several districts. I mean, like,
Would anybody like to make a motion?
I move that the Board of Directors award the bid for supply and delivery of produce with renewal options for up to 4 additional years to United Salad, beginning at the 24-25 school year.
Second.
It's been moved by Director Thomas and seconded by Director Pantoja that the Board of Directors award the bid for supply and delivery of produce with renewal options for up to 4 additional years to United Salad beginning the 2024-25 school year. Is there any further discussion? Good. Good. Rose, can you call the roll, please?
Sheehan Kim,
Aye.
Erica Lopez,
Aye.
Nancy Thomas,
Aye.
Monique Ward,
Aye.
Yvette Pantoja,
Aye.
Mark Watson.
Aye. Motion carries. All right, that concludes our action item portions of the evening. Next up, there are several policies for review. They will be on first reading tonight. If you have questions, the administrative team member for each one is listed there. They were all included in your packet. I would say this is not the end of the list. This is a substantial list of policies and ARs. A reminder that we pass policy ARs or administrative actions that generally relate to a policy but do not require board approval. Most of these, I believe, are in the effect of legislative changes over this past session and expect to see some more next time or the time after, but yeah. So we're not done with new policies yet, but this is a substantial list. Appreciate y'all waiting through it. Again, if you have any questions, I guess initial questions now, that's cool. But generally, if you have questions, we can direct them between now and approval time to the person indicated. Anything anybody want to add?
Just a thank you to Rose for her leadership, getting all this information from OSBA, helping us process it and decide what the priorities are. Much appreciated.
Yes, thank you. That's a heavy lift. And yeah, this is one of the things our OSBA fees go towards. So great. Any questions? All right. I guess we're there. HCU, HEA reports. We have a representative from HCU online, or is Kira going? Oh, do you want to go first? You want to go second? Let you guys make eye contact or whatever.
Rock, paper, scissors.
Okay. Good evening, School Board, Chair Watson, Vice Chair Pantoja, Superintendent Ryman, Student Representative, and Cabinet members. My name is Kira Hartzell, and I'm proud to be here tonight in my role as bargaining officer for Hillsborough Classified United, representing my classified colleagues across HSD. Earlier this month, HCU was delighted to participate in the Proud to be HSD Festival. Our goal at this event was to connect with members of our community, showcasing and celebrating the diverse work that classified staff perform within our district. To achieve this goal, we created a huge memory match game with help from our very own print shop, with pictures of over 40 different job classifications held by classified workers within our district. We challenged community members to flip cards until they found two that matched. Then we shared with them a little bit about the job that they'd revealed. And it's worth pausing here to note that we have way more than 40 different job classifications that are filled by classified staff in our district. But as you can imagine, 40 pairs is very overwhelming. So we found it was necessary to simplify a little bit by grouping workers in similar roles together. It was wonderful to see our community enjoy this game and to showcase the amazing contribution that our classified staff bring to their schools and work sites. As they flipped cards, students and families shared the names of staff at their schools who filled each role. Oh, Miss Lopez, who works in the front office, or Miss Amy, who ties my shoes at recess. Proud kids insisted on flipping every single card on the board until they found the one that was their parents' job. And though many were quick to recognize the staff that supported their students' daily learning, they were surprised to hear about the groundskeepers, the maintenance workers, the transition assistants, the communication liaisons, and a dozen other jobs that often go unnoticed, but make all of our work possible. It's in moments like these that the full weight of Proud to be HSD, and more specifically, Proud to be classified in HSD, really hits home. It's that same spirit of pride that has been driving our bargaining team during contract negotiations for the past several months. Last Tuesday, we met with the district for our final bargaining session of the school year. Since our first meeting in January, we have settled 15 of the 17 articles in our collective bargaining agreement. So we're almost halfway there. Though we would love to end the school year with a fully settled contract, we know that good things take time, and we're thankful for the collaborative work with our colleagues on the administrative team. The groundwork that's being laid in this bargaining process will be the foundation for healthy labor relations in the years to come. And that is a process that simply cannot be rushed. Though we're taking a break from active bargaining during the summer months, our HCU team will be actively planning so that we can hit the ground running on negotiations in the fall. Finally, as we approach the end of the year and all of its joys and celebrations, we'd like to give a special shout out to our facilities crew, who will be working double time in the coming weeks to accommodate all of the various end of year and graduation needs. We see all of the work that you do, and we appreciate you. Thank you for your time this evening.
Good evening, Chair Watson, Vice Chair Pantoja, fellow board members, Superintendent Ryman, and administrative leaders. My name is Mary Kay Babcock. My pronouns are she, her, aya, and I'm the president of the Hillsborough Education Association. I come before you deeply concerned for the well-being of our school community. This school year, especially the second term, we have seen a troubling increase in incidents of student behavior that have resulted in staff injuries. Some with injuries so severe that they've led to workers' compensation claims. This situation is alarming and it's unacceptable. Our schools should be a safe haven for both students and staff, a place where learning and growth occur without fear of harm. When our educators and our staff are injured, it disrupts the educational process and undermines that trust that is essential for a thriving school environment. No one should come to work worried if they're going to be insulted, threatened, or worse yet, injured. Let's do better. When I say that, I'm not referring to HEA alone. I'm not referring to HSD alone or the community alone, but all of us. Let's do better. To address this issue, I propose the following steps. Implement comprehensive behavioral interventions. We need to strengthen the programs that address student behavior proactively. Evaluations must be conducted swiftly to ensure students receive the appropriate support that they can learn. Strengthening social and emotional learning programs and offering education to parents and guardians of students with emotional behavioral disabilities is essential. Without the right support, students have acted out violently, causing trauma and, as mentioned, injury to their caregivers and trauma to their peers. Additionally, hate speech must not be tolerated. Let's make more use of our equity, access, and engagement staff by inviting them into our schools to provide training and lessons to help students manage their emotions and interactions effectively. Increase support for staff. Our educators need tools and training to handle challenging behaviors. This includes professional development and de-escalation techniques and restorative practices. Staff should have access to support personnel, such as counselors and behavioral interventionists, to assist in managing difficult situations. It is often reported that when most of our skilled educators who have used all of their known interventions, when they call for help, sadly, no one comes. This must change. We should also foster a culture of respect and accountability. We must build a school culture where respect, empathy, and accountability are its core values. Reviewing our discipline plans now will help us end the school year strong and be prepared for the next. Setting clear expectations for behavior, enforcing consequences consistently, and recognizing positive behavior are key. Engage parents, guardians, and the community. Parents and guardians and community members play a vital role in shaping our students' behavior. We must work collaboratively with them to reinforce positive behaviors at home and in the community. This includes regular communication, workshops, and resources that support positive parenting practices. Review and revise policies. Let's take a closer look at our existing policies related to student behavior and safety. Do we enforce them? Are they effective? Are there gaps that need to be addressed? We must be open to making necessary changes to ensure our policies support a safe and conducive working and learning environment. As we strive to improve student behavior, we must also turn our appreciation for teachers into meaningful action. In recent podcasts, Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona shared a powerful framework for this, which he calls the ABCs of teaching. A is for agency. Treat educators as professionals by giving them a voice and allowing them to provide input on matters affecting our schools, districts, and communities. Their insights are invaluable for developing practical solutions. B is for better working conditions. Ensure educators and students have safe and working learning environments. This includes providing necessary tools and resources to support students' needs. And the recent injuries highlight the urgent need to address safety concerns and implement comprehensive behavioral interventions. C is for competitive salary. Stop making educators feel guilty for advocating for a livable income. Investing in our educators is essential for providing the best education for our students. A competitive salary not only attracts and retains high-quality teachers, but it also shows that we value the dedication. When teachers feel respected and fairly compensated, they are more motivated and better equipped to foster positive student behavior and academic success. By turning our appreciation into concrete actions, granting agency, ensuring better working conditions, and offering competitive salaries, we not only honor educators, but we also pave the way for a brighter and more equitable future for all of our students. This is not just about saying thank you. It's about showing gratitude through meaningful and sustainable change. By taking these steps, we can create safer, more supportive school environment for everyone. It will require commitment and cooperation from all stakeholders, educators, staff, parents and guardians, students, and the broader community. But I believe that together we can make a significant difference. Our students deserve better. Our educators deserve better. Our schools deserve better. Let's do better together. Let's ensure that our schools are places where safety, respect, and learning thrive. Lastly, congratulations to the class of 2024. I also want to wish the very best to our retirees, and I want to give a special shout out to Kathy Newman, former HEA president, who will be concluding her 33rd year at HSD this year. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, student board time. Hallie, do you have anything you want to add tonight? Get that microphone closer. There you go.
I don't know if for those of you guys that remembered, first I want to thank you guys for the second to last meeting. And then I don't know if you remember, but I was announcing my running for ASB president for the all student body president. I was elected. And so, thank you. So I'm Hillsborough High School's all student body president, and my term is the 24 to 25 school year. Then we also have a concert choir tomorrow, and I'm not like making it a big deal because it's not like in a good shape right now. But it's still like worth talking about. There's also a raffle that we've been going on. For second and third place prizes were already chosen. And I know a lot of you would have wanted the second place prize, which is $500 Visa, Delta gift card for the airlines. But the first place is a 65-inch 4K TV, and that's still for the running. And drawing, you can buy raffle tickets still. And then the next one is the student representatives meet and greet. It was like really successful. Like Rose said, it was really fun. I enjoyed that. And RJ was eating at a restaurant while he was inside of it. So he was chewing while he was talking. So it was pretty funny. And congratulations to Travis for achieving your evaluation scores and being able to continue your adventure of being superintendent. And I'm proud to be able to experience your first year. Thank you. Funny, I hear about the produce supply updates. I'm really happy about that because I was actually planning on bringing up, I already spoke to Erica about it, about my school bringing in a new special today. It was mango curry chicken. And I was really surprised because I was like, that represents my culture, and it's just like stepping out of the boundaries of school food. And it was pretty fun. It was pretty good too. So it was like the school topic for a whole week. So thank you guys. Yeah, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Travis, you have anything you want to add tonight?
That's great. Thank you for that feedback, Hadley. Already mentioned, thank you, Mary Kay, about the retirement ceremony, all the years of service, classified, licensed, super tech and admin, retirees. Congratulations to everyone. I've been attending the high school senior showcases. So far, Hill High, Glencoe, and Liberty have hosted theirs, and Century, I believe, is tomorrow afternoon. And there's such a powerful exhibition of the projects that our seniors are able to accomplish, and the choice available to our students as they come up through our high school system, and the career pathways that we've established, and the high quality work that students are doing by the time they're 16, 17, 18 years old. It's inspiring across career areas. So encourage folks to check those out and continue to support our seniors. Thanks to the Student Services Department.
who you got to meet this afternoon. I'm inspired just listening to them, and I hope you were too, about their support for students who really need extra to fully engage in the school experience. They also support teachers who give 110% all the time, families as well. And a shout out to Krista Hansen for being the Transition Services Teacher of the Year, and Tracy Evers-Selleck, the School Nurse of the Year, right here in little old HSD. Something to be really proud of, and I was glad that they were celebrated tonight in our meeting. So thank you.
Thank you. Board of Directors time. Sheehan, do you have anything you would like to add tonight? Not with us anymore? Guess I don't see that square up there. Okay. Erica, anything you want to add tonight?
Yes. Well, one, I really want to try this new mango curry chicken that I never got to have when I was in school. I'm pretty jealous that you're getting really nice food there. And I unfortunately was not able to make the retirement because of my work commitment celebration, but I do want to give a shout out to Gloria Hernandez in Venture Bridge, who's retiring as a kindergarten teacher. And I'm super proud of all the work and contributions she's done to our district and also to my family. So thank you so much for that celebration of our staff. And thank you again for our work to appoint Dorian and help ensure that we have somebody representing us in Hillsborough at Northwest Regional ESD. As you saw in our presentation, they're great partners to us with special education and other ways. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. And also thank you, Travis, for your wonderful first year as our superintendent, and hope to continue more to come, and excited for the future of HSD and the great team that you have behind you. I'm very confident that we'll continue to strive and do a lot of great things in HSD. And lastly, also just thank you to our HEU and classified and licensed for your comments today. I always just appreciate hearing, especially when we're going through contract negotiations, how we have always valued the relationship and partnership in Hillsborough. And I just appreciate your comments, and always am thankful for the continued conversations and engagement.
Monique, anything to add tonight?
I just want to say thank you to all who came out today. Again, that was very informative with the student services. So I really appreciate that. And also from staff, you guys are fantastic with my questions and the responses and the detail. I really appreciate detail. So thank you so much for that. And for HSF for coming out and year over year and all the wonderful work that you do. Thank you.
Nancy, anything to add tonight? Anything to add tonight?
Just thank you to the administrative team for all the work that you do. And I wanted to give Rose a shout out for everything that you do for us, Rose. You probably saw me more last week than you probably wanted to, but thank you for all of it. And we got to interview our student reps, and that was a great process to experience. And there's so many great kids out there, and it's just so hard. And I'm really excited about the candidates that we selected, and can't wait for you all to meet them. And thank you.
Yeah, that was a great process. And yes, Rose went the extra mile in making all that happen. We have chosen, we make a recommendation to the board for 3 new student representatives at the next session. And it was a very difficult decision. We had 10 just amazing students apply for 3 positions. And it was super hard to make that choice. So, yeah, thank you to Rose and Yvette for being part of that process. It was awesome. And very heartwarming. Rest assured, our future's in pretty good hands. We just gotta get to them taking over, I think.
Thank you both.
I probably will ask Rose to put a little quick executive session on for the start of next meeting. This was our first year using the new superintendent review format. So just want to get a chance for the board to discuss a little bit about how we thought things went, what should we change? If nothing, great. It'd be super fast. So probably just a quick discussion at the start of next meeting for that. Was able to attend the retirement celebration, which is just such a great event. Do you remember how many years it was? 90, 100 something? 900, like it was an amazing number of years of archival knowledge that are no longer going to be here, but we do have great people here and it's awesome. And it was great to be there for that celebration. Also got to attend the valedictorian salutatorian lunch. That was amazing. Aaron was there as well. Aaron got a chance to speak. Travis spoke, hosted the event kind of, and Beth got the shot of everybody in the air. I think the jump shot worked, right? I saw it in Hot News. The shot of everybody in the air was awesome. So always a great event. And was it Dorian who mentioned it earlier? I think it might have been. Yeah, and the last time in this building, it used to be here. Like we've done it here before, and now it's so big we need Hidden Creek, and thank you to the city for providing Hidden Creek to us as an opportunity to use it. So that's great. What else? I get bargaining continues. We have a couple more sessions. We're back here tomorrow morning at 8:30, I think, right? 8:30 tomorrow? Yeah, we're back at 8:30 tomorrow. And I think we have another session before the end of the academic year. So, looking forward to continuing that work. I don't know what % we are done, but feels like a bunch. And I was able to share at the last meeting, I think Yvette was able to share, looking at the decisions some people nearby have had to make. The position of this board is everybody needs a raise. We shouldn't increase class size by a ton, and we shouldn't let go of a ton of staff. Like we do not want to cut staff. We don't want to increase class size, and everybody should get a raise. That's sort of, if that's where we can start our conversation, we feel pretty good about that. And it feels like we're working towards that. So that's awesome. Next week, it's kind of a huge week. So my colleagues, hopefully I will see you at some graduations next week. I know as a volunteer board member, there are way more opportunities to participate in things than you possibly can. So hopefully I can see you at some. Hopefully your schedule allows for you to attend some. Hopefully I can be at almost all of them. I'm going to try anyways. And I will tell you, it's last week I was walking down 3rd Avenue from my house to downtown Hillsborough. And after I passed the car, a young woman who was getting in the car jumped out and said, "Hey," I'm like, "You gave me my diploma." I'm like, "Oh." And I said, "How did that go?" She said, "It went great." So yeah, being there to hand out those diplomas is one of the most rewarding things we get to do as a board member. So I look forward to being able to do that again and see the different flavors of graduation that every school sort of uses. It's fantastic. So with that, I believe we are adjourned. Oh, so next meeting, one meeting in June, one of the months where we only have one meeting. So it'll be work session and regular session, June 18th, for our one meeting in June. So just a heads up on that. And we will do a quick organizational meeting in July where we will swear in our new student representatives. I'm guessing we're trying to do this one virtually, right? Just a quick, maybe even a lunchtime thing. Yeah. Well, we're swearing our new student school board representatives, and we will confirm board leadership at that point. I guess if anybody would like to be chair or vice chair that hasn't expressed interest in that before, let Rose know, let me know, let somebody know. Yeah, talk about it because we'll have to figure that out for next year. So Yvette and I have had some discussions about the best way to handle it, and hopefully we'll be able to share those discussions with you at the June meeting. And then in July, we'll do a quick meeting to swear in board chair, swear in vice chair, and student representatives. But it should be fast. Look for possibility of July 2nd. We've already picked a date. Never mind. All right. 4th of July week. All right. So those are the weird calendar anomalies. And even though you'll no longer be a student representative to the board, we know you're with us for another year. Congratulations on your ASB president. And, the room is always available for you to come back and make audience comment or whatever. We'd be happy to have you back anytime. And looking forward to one more meeting with you. We are adjourned. Thank you.
You better hand out my diploma next year.
Yeah.